After all that we have seen so far, there seems to be no compelling reason not to consecrate oneself to the Blessed Virgin. By handing everything over to her, we lose nothing, but we gain a lot, deprived of our goods, living only for her, with her, and in her. Even so, it is worth reviewing the main reasons listed by Saint Louis Marie Grignon de Montfort in his treatise that strongly recommend his devotion to us. Let's see in a very summarized way what Saint Louis tells us in this regard. Full consecration to Our Lady, he says, puts us entirely at the service of God and constitutes an admirable means of being faithful and persevering in virtue. Indeed, all of us who have the grace to believe desire to belong to Jesus Christ. However, because of our weakness and inconstancy, we often fail to fulfill our purposes, and little by little, yielding to our passions and evil desires, we return to the same life of sin that we had before conversion. In the morning we offer ourselves to God, and at night we ask ourselves back. We lack, therefore, that interior freedom, that firm resolution to surrender everything to God. But why, we might ask, is Mary such an effective path, such a useful instrument for overcoming such obstacles? Here it is necessary to remember that when they sinned, Adam and Eve, created friends and family of God, came to see him as an enemy, a fearsome and aggressive figure. That is why, when our first parents heard his footsteps in the Garden of Eden in the afternoon breeze, among the trees in the garden, deceived by the ancient serpent, they bought the lie that the Lord was, in fact, a trickster, who well knew that on the day they ate of the forbidden fruit, their eyes would be opened and they would be like gods. Stained by original sin, we too have inherited this disposition to look upon God as an enemy, a liar, unworthy of our faith and trust. Now, the solution that the Lord Himself found for this sad fall was to put hatred and enmity between the woman and the serpent, between the offspring of the latter and that of the other, because she is a mother and has a very tender heart. Mary, prefigured by the ancient Eve, makes all resistance fall. It draws us to love and service. It helps us to give our whole being to God from the heart. Who would be afraid to hand over to such a good mother, full of mercy and sweetness, all her possessions, family, health, money, good reputation, etc.? It is not easier for us to get what we want or need from our Father if we first turn to our Mother. If it is so in the natural order, why should we be different in the order of grace and the needs of the Spirit? If we are afraid to give everything to God, let us first give ourselves to Mary, who, being the most humble of servants, will give ourselves to Jesus. She writes the Saint of Montfort, withholds nothing from what we offer. Everything faithfully refers to Jesus. If we give something to her, we necessarily give it to Jesus. When we present something to Jesus on our own initiative and supported by our ability and willingness, Jesus examines the present and often rejects it in view of the stains that the gift has contracted from our self-love, as of old rejected the sacrifices of the Jews because they were full of self-will. When, however, we present something to him by the pure and virginal hands of his beloved, we take it for her weak side. He does not consider so much the offer we make to him as his good mother who presents it to him. He does not look so much at the origin of the gift as at the bearer. Unlike Eve, who saw the forbidden fruit and took it for herself, Mary looks at the blessed fruit of her womb and does not keep it for herself. Rather, she hands him over to the Father with generosity and selflessness. How right, therefore, should we give ourselves entirely to Our Lady? She will look at the pure and warm fruit of our works, of our whole being, and will send it purified and embellished to her dear Son, To consecrate oneself entirely to Mary is to be led by her, in the easiest, shortest, most perfect, and surest way, to a more intimate and profound union with our Lord.